generation of human beings. And this brokenness expresses itself in all kinds of different diseases, be they physical, be they emotional, be they psychological, be they in our world, at societal or political level, be it in our economy, you name it. Anything that is broken in our world, that is amiss, ultimately is a result of sin. And it doesn't end there. It gets worse before it gets better. So sin comes in the world. With it comes disease and ultimately death. Romans 5:12 says, therefore just as sin came into the world through one man, and death through sin, and so death spread to all men because all sinned. Now, what we're going to understand is this. In death, everything is broken. Like, you know how when you have a piece of equipment and your phone's kind of dying, it's not really working properly, but it still kind of works? Now, once the phone is completely dead, it is completely broken. That's what death is. In death, everything is broken. Death is the ultimate expression of brokenness. And disease is a partial breaking down of our being. Be it the mind, be it the emotion, be it the body, but it's a partial breaking down of our being. And what disease does? Disease gives us, and I know it sounds terrible, it gives us a glimpse of ultimate death, because that's where everything's headed eventually. Everything will be broken. And the sad thing is this: our world has been fed this lie by Darwinism, by evolution. And Darwinism says it's been trying to convince us that we should just accept death. We should just accept dying and disease as completely normal, part of evolution and survival of the fittest, and you shouldn't get upset about it. Now try telling that to the auntie of that 3-year-old boy whose sister has got stage 3 breast cancer. Most people who have been personally touched by some serious disease or even death of a loved one finds no comfort whatsoever in this theory of evolution. It might sound good in the mind of academics, but it does not satisfy the aching cry of the human heart. And while disease and death have been part of this world for a very long time, most people, and they might not be able to explain it or put it to words, they still feel deep inside that something is seriously wrong with this picture. That it shouldn't be like this. And they are wishfully thinking about being well. They are wishfully thinking about living a longer life to the fullest, but there is no certainty. Why is there no certainty? Because they feel that things are out of their hands. They see disease and decay. It's just these unreliable forces beyond their control. And so they don't have true hope. But, and I said to you, it gets worse before it gets better. But there is hope and healing for our sick and dying world. This is what the series is all about. Now, I'm going to refer to an old movie, and apparently it was a really bad movie. It was called Superman Returns. Okay? Apart from production, there was this one line that I thought was so profound. And long story short, Superman goes on a long, long hiatus. He's looking for his old planet Krypton, was blown up to pieces. And his love interest, Lois Lane, doesn't hear from him for years. And she gets quite upset. And so she writes a news article which is called Why the World Does Not Need Superman. I'm talking about bitterness. All right? And Superman returns, and he takes, after reconciling with Lois Lane, he takes her on this trip. They go flying up in the sky, and that's the scene. And he says to her, "Can you hear it?" And she says, I hear nothing. And he says, "I hear everything." Because of his super hearing, he says, "I hear every pain, I hear every cry, every crime, every agony, every distress. I hear it all, 24/7. I hear it." And then he turns to Lois and says, "You wrote that the world does not need a savior, but every day I hear a cry for one."
Wow.
And in a later scene, you see Superman there in space listening, and he hears everything. And he's trying to discern what is the greatest thing at that point in time so he can fly into action to save the day. And can I just say to you, I honestly believe one of the reasons why superhero movies are so popular is because they touch something in the deepest cry of the human heart, which is we long for a superhero to come in and save the day because we are so broken, we are so hurt, we're so down. We just want someone, some savior to come and save us. And that is a God-shaped hole that God has placed there that longs for our ultimate savior. And not everyone can express it in word, but this is the reason why superheroes movies, I believe, are so popular, because it speaks to that very cry of the human heart. And the wonderful thing is, God is not a fictional superhero. God, greater than Superman, doesn't just sit idly back and let his people waste away into oblivion and death. He has heard creation crying, and his heart has been compassionately moved to take action against the brokenness of this world by healing people in the past, by healing people in the present, and healing people in the future. Until one day, all disease, and all death, and all brokenness, and all pain, and all suffering will be completely eradicated. God has declared war on brokenness, and he is rolling back the tides of darkness and its consequences. Until one day, and we read Revelation, and I take courage in this scripture. One day, Revelation 21:4 says that he will wipe away every tear from their eyes. And death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain anymore. For the former things have passed away. Remember I said before, disease is a partial breaking down of our being, ultimately giving us a glimpse of the ultimate breakdown, which is death. Well, God has just reversed this. Every time God heals us here on earth, that's a partial restoration. It's not full, because one day we will die and we'll see heaven. It's a partial restoration, and it gives us a glimpse of what is yet to come. The glimpse of eternal life when everything is restored. So why would God do this? And the answer is, it is God's nature to heal anything. It is God's nature to heal anything. In the Bible, it's interesting. We don't see God say, hey, I've got medicine. Just this morning, someone was asking me for antihistamine because their daughter was having hay fever. All right? God doesn't say, hey, I've got a drugstore. I've got a chemist. He doesn't say, hey, I've got healing. I have a cure. He doesn't say that. In Exodus 15:26, God says, I am the Lord your healer. In other words, he says, I am your medicine. I am your doctor. I am your physician. I am the cure. Really, that's the title of this message today. He is the cure. And this is where we get one of the Old Testament names for God, which is Yahweh Rapha. And it means the Lord our healer. Or if you want to be more precise, I am healer. Because Yahweh means I am. God's self-expressed exists in it. So he's saying, I am healer. That's who I am. All right? We sing that song, you're a good, good father. It's who he is. It's who he is. Well, he's a good, good healer. It's who he is. He can't help otherwise. Healing is not just something that God does incidentally because he thinks it happens to be a good idea. No, God by his very nature, of his innermost being, is a healer who cannot help himself but heal. He has to be true to his character. When I was a child, we used to have these, what do you call these fun fairs? Carnivals? What do we call them? And in Germany, and one of the things they did is, Germany is a beer drinking nation, much like Australia, and they would serve beer in these carts, where bottles would be in, bottle carts. And the way they would transport these bottle carts would be on these long rails that had metal rollers on them. And so you would like roll across, almost like a conveyor belt, And what they would do on these fun fairs is they would get one of these roller coasters or roller rails and put them at an angle, and the kids would sit on the beer carts and roll down. It's probably been banned now because of this WHS issue. Anyway, I had to be the one that made the WHS issue. So I'm sitting on it, and I fall face first onto the metal rollers. And my middle teeth go through my lip. I had a hole, right? It's sliced across. I mean, I was screaming in pain. And I don't know, maybe things have changed now, but it was on a Sunday, so all the doctors are closed. And we went to town, we knew nobody, I was in agony, my mom's panicking, my dad was on a business trip. And out of the blue, a doctor appears. And he says, "Here, come with me." And he takes me to his clinic, opens his clinic on a Sunday that's closed. Cleaned my wound, stitched me up, and didn't charge me. And said, "Hey, you need to go." And we asked, why are you doing this? Can we pay you? No. Why do you do this? And he says, when I became a doctor, I took an oath. It's known as the Hippocratic Oath. And that is to help if I see a need to help. How many medical doctors do we have in here? Anyone? Dr. Sharon, are you here? All right, you know who you are. When you first became a medical doctor, you didn't do it most probably because of the money or the fame. You did it because you wanted to help people. And that's what the Hippocratic Oath, Hippocrates was one of the early fathers of medicine. And what part of his oath was that if you want to be a healer, you do it not for the money, you don't do it for the fame, you do it because it's the right thing to do. And in a small glimpse, this doctor gave me a glimpse of who God our healer is. It is in their nature to heal. They can't help but heal for no other reason that they are a healer. Who God is always determines what he does. His identity and his actions cannot be separated. They're always connected to each other. And since God is Yahweh Rapha, it is in his nature to always heal. What this means for us is God is always more willing to heal us than we are sometimes willing to believe to receive healing from him. When I was an early Christian, I had an ingrown toenail. I think one of your sons has ingrown toenails, right? One of them, yeah. All right, so I had an ingrown toenail, and I went to this conference on signs and wonders. There's a guy called Jack Deere back in the 80s, remember? Anyway, so I'm there, we're listening, and I'm hobbling along, with my pussy toe and everything. And, anyway, so we're really defeated. Anyway, so we're there, and then it came to a prayer time, and Jack Deere said, I want you guys to break in groups, small groups, and just pray for each other, for healing. And the people pray for cancer, and autoimmune disease, and AIDS, and all the big stuff, And here I am hobbling along. And my friend's like, hey, let's pray for your toe. I'm like, what? It's just an ingrown toenail. But God can heal it. Yeah, I know he can heal it. It's so small and insignificant. Go pray for some cancer patient. No. God is willing to heal it. Nothing is too small for God that he doesn't care to heal. Yeah. He can heal the cancer, the worst disease, and he can heal the smallest ingrown toenail. It is God's nature to heal anything. Yeah. Anything. The word Rapha, from Yahweh Rapha, from the Old Testament original Hebrew language, actually means so much more than what many English Bibles have translated. See, we read healer, we think healer of physical diseases. But in the original Hebrew, it means someone who restores a wrong, sick, broken, or deficient condition to its original proper state. In other words, you've got something that's working 100%, everything's good, and something happens to it. It gets sick, it breaks, it functions subpar, whatever. It doesn't work like it's supposed to from the very beginning. And God comes in and restores it back to its original. Amen. Yahweh Rapha is so much more than a healer of physical diseases. He's a restorer. He's someone who makes whole. And so when we talk about God's healing, it includes restoring broken nations, Amen. Broken societies, broken communities, broken homes, broken lives, broken hearts, and yes, broken bodies. I remember when I was involved in university ministry and was with like a connect group, and we were breaking up for prayer in the end. I was praying for this one guy. This guy was a bodybuilder. This guy was so massive, he made me look like scrawny Pee Wee Herman, okay? I mean, his arms were so big, they would have to have their own tax file numbers. You know, one arm name was Des, and one was Troy, and they were Destroy. And they were massive, okay? He was huge, big, burly bodybuilder, all right? And so I'm praying, I'm not quite sure to put on the bicep or the tricep or whatever, you know, traps. And so I'm praying, and as I'm